Hello everyone, since the Island Pack discussion video did really well, I thought I would make a well-deserved follow-up about a possible Highland animal pack. A Highland DLC, in my opinion, is just as likely as a Island DLC. Maybe it won't be the next DLC, but I can definitely see it being added some point in the future. The Highland pack would complete the lands theory if the Islands pack also gets released. And the reason this pack is more likely, in my opinion, than other packs is because of the same reasons as the Island pack, and that's because many of the animals in the meta wishlist are Highland animals. The meta wishlist is a fan-made list that ranks the animals people have been requesting the most, and the Wolverine, Mux Ox, Hamadry's Baboon and Takin are all in the top 20 of the most requested animals on the list. Mountain animals are also quite unrepresented in the game right now. Currently the Highland animals are quite limited. One of the only species of Highland animals are the Dall sheep, snow leopard, alpine ibex, cougar, Himalayan brown bear, red panda, llama, and well, there are a couple of others, and the list may seem quite long, but comparing it to other regions, the Highlands are quite unrepresented. This pack would also be perfect to add some species to some of the more unrepresented regions like North America, Europe and Western Asia. The mountains are a tough environment and one of the least explored places on Earth, and with these kind of environments come tough animals, which would make a great roster. When it comes to a Highland DLC, I think an animal pack is more realistic, but I will try my best to forge both an animal pack and the scenery pack just so we can see how the two versions could look like. Firstly, we will take a look at how I would imagine a Highland scenery pack would look like. For music, I would imagine something like Celtic traditional music, more specifically from the Scottish Highlands. Traditional music from the Alps like Swiss and Austrian traditional music would have worked really well, but in my opinion it's too similar to the music we already got from the European pack. Another possibility is taking inspiration from traditional Himalayan flute music from Tibet and Nepal. This music is very relaxing and also perfectly fitting for a Highland themed pack. For an architectural theme, it is more difficult to come up with an idea. Most of the architecture and props from these mountainous regions are quite easy to realize with the pieces we already have. But to mention some possible themes that would fit for a mountain feeling, I have found these three themes. So firstly, a traditional Tibetan architecture theme. This would go perfectly with the Tibetan music, and the scenery theme would include their iconic roofs with golden trims and trinkets, awesome banner signs, unique traditional statues and wall signs representing the animals. Wall trims and new flexicolor bricks would also go alongside the Tibetan architecture. A traditional Swiss chalet theme would also be quite nice for this pack, although most of the pieces are already quite easily replicated in game. Some additional pieces like rustic wooden planks, logs, planters, fences, trims and other new shingle roof would be nice for this theme. Finally, I want to mention the typical chalets found in the Canadian Highlands. Similar to Swiss architecture, these buildings are mostly made out of wood. This theme could add generally similar pieces, but adding more of a Canadian charm, like having these typical horizontal logged walls and stripped logged pieces. Now for the animal roster, there are many options for mountain animals. For the first animal, I chose the Wolverine. The Wolverine lives across the Arctic, which includes Canadian, Scandinavian and Siberian mountains. The Wolverine is the largest mustelid in the world. The mustelid family are all the species related to weasels like ferrets, badgers, otters and minks. Wolverines can hunt down reindeers, which is very impressive for its size. This species would be an awesome addition. A possible alternative for the Wolverine could be the Tibetan fox. Although we already have 3 fox species, with the red fox looking very similar to the Tibetan fox, Having another fox species would still be awesome, and the Tibetan fox has a very distinct large head that makes it unique and distinct from the other fox species that we already have in game. For a large ungulate, I think a muskox is a perfect pick. They live in the Arctic tundra and highlands. They can be found in Norway, Canada, Greenland, Siberia, and they used to have large populations in Sweden and Scotland as well. But a possible alternative is the takin, also known as the gnu goat. This ungulate can be found in the Himalayas and are one of the more unique looking mountain ungulates. This is also a highly requested animal and a great alternative in my opinion as well. A third alternative for a ungulate could be a Highland cow from the Scottish Highlands. This bovine with its large horns looks very different from other bovine and would be a nice addition to the pack. It would also add to the roster of domestic animals in Planet Zoo. I think the Himalayas baboon would be a great monkey species to add to the game. We already have 3 old world monkey species in the game, but the old world monkeys are so diverse, I think a 4th species is acceptable. The Himalayas baboon are native to the Horn of Africa and are the northernmost baboon species. They live in both the lowlands and highlands of Ethiopia. An alternative could be the Barbary macaque. This is also a old world monkey and native to the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. It can also be found in Gibraltar, which makes this the only European monkey species. So I think that is quite unique. A third possible alternative, and maybe even more exciting alternative, is the gelada baboon. This is also an old world monkey and it's native to Ethiopia, specifically the Ethiopian highlands, and it's a very unique monkey with its unique chest marking. In my opinion, I think the gelada would make an even better pick than the Himalayas baboon. If you make our way over to the Andes, the spectacled bear is the only South American species of bear. I know we already have many species of bear in the game right now, but the spectacled bear being the only South American species makes it unique enough in my opinion to deserve a spot on this list. For the exhibit animal, I think an alpine salamander would be a great pick. We have been getting some more amphibian species lately, but I think the alpine salamander deserves to be added as well. The salamander is found in the French Alps, as the name suggests, and it is very unusual to find amphibians and reptiles on high altitudes, so that makes this salamander extra unique. But if the alpine salamander is too similar to the fire salamander, which is completely understandable since the alpine salamander is closely related to the fire salamander, then I think it's quite hard to look for another reptile or amphibian since there aren't many reptiles or just cold-blooded animals in the mountains because of its cold temperature. But I think a unique pick and a good opportunity to add a mammal would be a chinchilla. The chinchilla is quite popular since it's also a popular pet. You have them in petting zoos as well, so you could add this animal to your petting zoo in Planet Zoo as well. And the chinchilla would be the first mammal in a exhibit, which Frontier has said that they wouldn't add more mammals, or they wouldn't add mammals to exhibits, but they've added the bat in a walkthrough exhibit, which, you know, is technically also an exhibit, so I don't think it's too unrealistic to think that Frontier could also add mammals to the smaller exhibits, and I think the chinchilla would be a perfect fit for this. Also, this would also be a nice time to introduce a new biome type for the exhibit animals, since a tropical environment or a desert environment wouldn't fit for an alpine salamander or a chinchilla. The mountain exhibit could feature a more rocky environment and less tropical trees. So this would be my ideal Highland pack if it were a scenery pack. Now I think it is more realistic to see this DLC in the form of an animal pack, so which other species would be added to this pack to complete the roster? Yeah, again, I will be using the species I have already mentioned as the first 5 animals for this animal pack, being the wolverine, the takin, the gelada baboon, the spectacled bear, and the chinchilla. Let's explore some more animals from some famous mountain regions. The pack still doesn't include any habitat species from the Alps. It's the largest mountain chain in Europe. That's why for the next animal I chose the alpine marmot. This animal is probably one of the most iconic species of the Highlands in my opinion. The marmot is a large rodent and thus would be an awesome addition. Any rodent added to the game is a win. The magho would be another interesting mountain goat species to have in the game. This goat in particular is native to Central Asia, which is very much an underrepresented region. Its unique horns would make it an amazing addition to the game. Finally, the mountain gorilla would be a great way to represent some Central African species. It is native to the highlands of the Congo. The mountain gorilla is actually its own species of gorilla and not simply a subspecies together with the western lowland gorilla that we have already got. So I think just for that, it's distinct enough to be its own species in the game. Now for an alternative, something completely different, because maybe the mountain gorilla is too similar to the gorilla we already have and would be a lazy pick for some people, I present the Andean mountain cat, something completely different, another feline. I know we already have a lot of felines in the game, but this is a small cat, and it's like the size of a house cat, which is awesome because we don't really have small cats in the game, so it would still be very different from the other species that we have. And it's a mountain animal, it's another South American animal from the Andes. It has a very unique pattern, it's grey with brown spots. I haven't really seen that kind of colour pattern combo before, so I think it's definitely a great pick for our final animal in the Highland Animal Pack roster. Although I do think there is a more popular pick for a small cat species, that is the Palace's cat. The Palace's cat has a very distinct grumpy face, and it's also a fan favourite, so I think that adding the Palace's cat to the Highland pack would be perfect, and maybe even a better pick than the Andean mountain cat. This is my prediction of the Highland Animal Pack and the Highland pack, but remember that it's just a speculation and absolutely nothing I've said in this video is confirmed, and it's quite impossible for us to know what the future of Planet Zoo will be and how the DLCs would look like. But I hope you enjoyed this speculative video on a possible Highland pack, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.